Okay, I'll proceed na no, with our discussion for today. I'll be discussing Open Run value chain. This topic would be on the Open Run taxonomies or yung mga architecture ni Open Run which we will uh, find value, okay, in terms of how will we benefit from it and how uh, it could improve yung um, yung run market. Yan. Okay. So we will wear our economist hats ngayon, hindi muna engineering hats. And let's see no what we can find value in Open Run. Because Open Run is a market disruptor eh, di ba? Sun before was a market disruptor, di ba? When previously no the we only have two giants sharing the market for our telco industry. It's Smart and Globe. But when Sun came in, di ba? Binago niya yung landscape nung SMS. Okay? So Open Run would do the same. It will change the landscape of the vendor. Okay? So let me discuss first what is the difference of a supply chain and a value chain. Yan. So sometimes these terms are being used interchangeably, but actually it pertains to two not contrasting topics, but two ways of thinking. Okay? So hindi siya let's say for example when we talk of application development, ayan. Oh, anong application development are you following? Kami it's a waterfall methodology. Yan. When we say waterfall, you come up first with all those user requirements, okay? Check on the scope, then build on those requirements, develop, test, and deploy. Okay? But some agile na kami ngayon. Okay? Ibig sabihin, it changes over time. When the client wants some changes during the development phase, okay, i-incorporate din yung change na yun during the development. So nagbabago yung scope, and after some time magbabago ulit yung ways on how they develop those softwares. Okay? And then continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous deployment siya. Okay? But for this, supply chain and value chain, they are not contrasting ideas, but the ideas on their own. Okay. So what is the difference between these two? Okay. Let's look first at its workflow. Okay. Let's look at the workflow. For the supply chain, it is the movement of raw materials or resources. It from building the products or services from it, and then we distribute it to the customer. So think of it as, let's say you are a car manufacturer. Okay? If you want to build your car, you source out the parts. Okay? Saan ko kukunin yung head unit ko? Saan ko kukunin yung glassworks ko? Saan ko kukunin yung tires, yung suspensions? Okay? And you'll arrange it on assembly line and then bring it to the dealership. Okay? So that's your value chain, and that's your supply chain. So when we talk of value chain, okay, value chain starts with the customer. Yeah. So it's we find what the customer values more, okay, and we seek to imbue it. We seek to imbue those values to the products and services that we will develop. Okay? So, going back to our example in, let's say, car manufacturing tayo, no? When we will do our value chain, okay, we will think of as a customer. Okay? What do our customers value more? Yan. So, what do you as a car buyer, di ba? Ano yung hinahanap nyo when buying a car? Siyempre, gusto ko fuel efficient. Okay? Gusto ko exempted sa coding. Yan, di ba? So, people nowadays, they look for hybrids na. Hybrids or full EVs na din kung meron, di ba? Okay? And then, when the business finds out those things that the customer values more, syempre magbabago din yung the way they will produce yung product. Okay? So in terms of our workflow, the supply chain starts with our raw materials. Saan natin kukunin? Paano natin ipo-process? Okay? Saan mas mura? Okay? But for the value chain, we think of our customers. What our customers are looking for? Ano yung mas likable sa ating mga customers. Okay? And doon natin i-base what we will be our products in the future. Right? So secondly, let's think of the inherent process. Okay? When we think of the inherent process, okay, for the supply chain, it mainly consists of our operational processes which focus on the efficiency ng logistics and production. Siyempre, when we want to produce products, we want to mass produce it. When we want to have a mass production of it, siyempre gusto natin efficient siya. Walang tapon, walang sayang. Okay? So we will find ways on how we will have a very efficient production. Okay? But for the value chain, okay, ano yung inherent process niya? Ang inherent process ng value chains are business management processes. When we say business management processes, the way they process yung customer value, how will they find it? So it involves market research, product innovation activities like that, okay, in a way to have or to consider, di ba, yung market demand. Okay? So value chains are more of business management. Okay? So thirdly, let's look at who pulls the chain. Okay? And when we say who pulls the chain, it's for the supply chain, it is the business. Diba? Si business, siya yung magsasabi kung when, where ako kukuha ng resources ko, okay? How will I process it? It's all on the business decisions. Okay? But for the value chain, okay, it is the customer who drives the value. Diba? Kung ano yung voice ng customer, that is what we will listen to. Okay? So, these two ideas, they are not a contrast of each other, but they are a set of processes na pwede nating ma-employ. The supply chain and the value chain. Okay? Can I get a thumbs up kung malinaw? Indifference? All right. Thank you, guys. So, I'll post like this kasi para malapit lang yung mic ko sa akin. Okay. So, don't be distracted lang. Okay. And moving on. All right. So, What about the RAN? Yeah, what about the RAN? Okay. Wala tayo sa RAN. When I started my career as a telco engineer, ayan. So I have been with Digitel, that Digital Mobile Philippines, DMPI. Yun ang company name ni Sun. And Sun set last year, if you may remember, no, nag-sunset na si Sun. Yan. Ang network pa namin noon is this traditional network, okay? The one you see uh, on your leftmost diagram, okay? So yung traditional network, we have this radio part, okay, and the baseband part. These are situated doon sa cell site mismo, okay? Yung radio and baseband unit nandun sa cell site. And then you have a big microwave, or pwede ring naka fiber optic, connecting those cell sites papunta sa core network. Okay. So for on my end, I am not an RF guy. So hindi ako radio guy. I'm on the core network side. Yeah. Okay. So andun ako sa andun kami sa mga data centers. Ayan. So for the traditional network, okay, ano kaya yung nakikita nyong problem sa ganitong architecture? What is the problem on this kind of architecture? Okay. So this design actually it does not employ high availability. When we say high availability, okay, if your baseband unit is, let's say, naging faulty siya, okay, and then you already lost your coverage dun sa cell site na yun. Okay? You already lost it. That way, okay, on that premise, okay, engineers look for a way to have or to solve that high availability issue. Okay? So why don't we pull those baseband units into a central office? Okay? So we have now a centralized network. Okay? So we are moving on to the next centralized onto the next network architecture. Okay? The centralized network. Okay? So we pull those baseband units into a central office. Yung central office na yon, it manages a group of cell sites. Okay? Manages a group of cell sites. Ang kagandahan dito sa centralized units, okay, yung baseband pool mo, okay, you can now employ a 2n plus 1. Okay? When we say 2n plus 1, okay, you have a redundant unit. Okay? So pwede mo siyang i-set up as a primary and a backup server. Then plus 1. Yung plus 1, it's a disaster recovery server naman. Okay? So 2n plus 1. You can have primary and secondary, or pwede ding naka-load balance yun. Diba? So you have two servers, okay? And balance yung traffic or yung data na kinikater niya, okay? For in a way, if server goes down, diba? Meron pa rin tayong server who handles the production. And still, you have the plus 1, okay? Para in case let's say the whole central office is down, okay? You have DR site. Okay? So the centralized network, it solves yung high availability issue. Right? Kaso meron pa rin siyang problema. Okay? Or meron siyang kulang. Okay? Scalability. All right? Scalability. So when we say scalability, it is the flexibility ng infrastructure to scale up or scale down. When we say scale up, okay, let's say tumaas yung traffic natin or mag-peak tayo dahil sa holidays. Ayan. Okay. Scalability, your infrastructure, okay, kaya niyang humabol or mag-cope up or mag-scale up alongside dun sa increase ng traffic. Okay? Yun ang hindi kayang gawin. Okay? Yun ang hindi kayang gawin ng centralized network. Kasi ano siya fixed number of servers yan. Okay? Oh, yes, may ano ako, may 2n+1 ako. Okay? Pero fixed numbers yun. Ibig sabihin, how do you derive yung 2n+1? How do you derive your number of servers? Siyempre, gagawa ka ng capacity plan. Okay? I-forecast mo yung traffic. Let's say, for this year, ano siguro yung magiging number of calls, number of SMS, or number of yung gigabytes ng data na kakainin na ng mga ng subscribers natin. Okay? So, if we are to follow yung forecasting, siyempre lalakihan natin yung di ba? Lalakihan natin yung servers natin. Okay? Ang problem doon, okay? Ang problem doon, kapag masyado mong nilakihan yung servers, kasi let's say I forecasted magiging double or triple yung traffic natin for the next 2 to 3 years, ganyan. So ngayon pa lang, bibili na ako ng magpo-procure na tayo ng servers that could handle a 5-year traffic. Okay? So, ibig sabihin on the first year, ang laki ng capital spending. Kasi ang gusto mo for within 5 years, kaya dapat infrastructure ko yung increase ng traffic. So, ibig sabihin, dun pa lang sa first year, ang laki na ng capacity na bibilihin ko. Okay? Anong issue dun? Ito ang laki ng capital spending. Okay? Tapos, magkakaroon ka rin ng unused resources. Kasi on the first year, ito pa lang yung traffic mo, pero ang laki na ng in-employ mo na infrastructure, di ba? So sayang naman yung infrastructure or sayang yung compute resources na meron ka or yung storage resource na meron ka. Okay? Yun yung gustong ma-solve ng scalability. When we say scalability, you have your infrastructure, okay? And it can scale up or scale down depending dun sa amount ng traffic na meron ka. Okay? And that is solved ng virtualized network. That is the third network that we see here. Okay? So yung central office na puro mga bare metals, okay? It can be deployed in a virtualized environment. Ibig sabihin, when you have a virtualized environment, ma-manage mo ng maayos yung resources. Okay? You can deploy this number of VMs for this system, and then for another system, let's say, okay, for this cell site, medyo konti pa lang naman yung subscriber natin dito, we can set this amount of BBUs for them. Okay. Ang kagandahan sa virtualized network, okay, you can add resource and you can remove resource. Okay? So na-solve ng virtualized network yung scalability. we can scale up our compute resources, or we can scale it down kung mababa na yung traffic. Okay? Now, okay na ba tayo sa virtualized network? Yes, oo. But with these three architectures, yung traditional, centralized, and virtualized network, all the equipment and all the softwares that you use in here, they are managed solely, or you source it out only to a single vendor, and it uses proprietary hardwares or softwares. Okay? For us, balik tayo sa traditional network. Yan. Okay? Yung radio unit ko, okay? It uses sa amin noon sa Sun, okay? Yung Vismin na area, they were using Ericsson. Okay? Ericsson devices lahat yun. From the network side, from the radio side, papunta up to the core side, yung MSCs, Ericsson din. Okay? So, kuha ni Ericsson lahat ng ano, di ba? So, lahat nung kailangan ng telco to operate, okay, ipoprovide nung single vendor kay Ericsson. Okay. So, ang ginawa noon, kaya nakapasok din si Huawei. Kwento ko na lang din. Nung nakapasok si Huawei, siyempre, they can offer cheaper price, di ba? Sige, i-ano natin 'yan. For the Luzon area. Yan. Okay. I think ang gamit ata noon is Alcatel pa ata na vendors. So, na-change out siya. Okay. Change out, pinalitan. Yeah, papalitan namin lahat yan. Gagawin natin lahat na Huawei. Yeah. So, doon nakapasok si Huawei sa Philippine market. Okay. By the way, disclaimer lang for this discussion, I could be spilling out brands. Okay? Wala akong disclaimer, no. There's no commercial. There's no commercials sa brands. Okay, but you will see how Open RAN opens up the market. Okay, so ano tayo dito, no to brand war. Yan. Kasi lahat naman tayo, we are engineers. We can work kahit sa area ng network. Okay? We can work kahit sa technologies. Yan. We can work in hardware or software. Okay? We can work in any companies. Yan. Okay? So, but for the purpose of this discussion, yan, we want to see how Open RAN disrupts yung market. Okay? So again, back to our traditional network, no? So traditional network, centralized network, virtualized network, okay? Lahat ng components niya, they are delivered by a single vendor. So ang issue doon, ang problem doon, well, meron kang core network, no? It runs on this machine, ganyan. And then there's some new technology na they can offer us at a more cheaper price. Sige, palitan, i-change out natin yan. Okay? So, paano mo siya gagawin sa data center mo? Oh, di ba? Hindi papasok ka uli ng mga machines, or ang laki ng work sa logistics, di ba? To deploy yung mga i-change out, di ba? Okay. So for traditional centralized virtualized network, all those hardware and softwares, okay, they are proprietary. So hindi natin pwedeng i-mix and match. Kunwari, let's say nagkaroon ng ano, let's say nagkaroon ng typhoon, ayan. Okay? And then, na-damage yung ano natin, damage yung antenna natin sa site na to. Okay? Meron pa ba tayong stock? Ay nako, wala tayong stock niyan eh. Pero meron kami dito sa Luzon ganitong antenna. Okay? Pwede ba to? No, hindi. Hindi natin pwedeng magamit yan kasi iba yung vendor namin for this area. Okay? So hindi siya pwedeng i-mix and match. That is one market disruption na ginawa ni OpenRAN. When OpenRAN came in, okay, it introduced an architecture, okay, na yung mga uh, components niya, okay, they can be interoperable. Yan. That is the lesson that we had last week, interoperability. Okay, so you open up the interfaces, you are now using a GPP hardware. When we say a GPP hardware, a general purpose hardware, ibig sabihin, okay, yung central office natin on this area, di ba? Nagkaroon ng power failure, nagkaroon ng fluctuation, nasira na yung modules itong BBU pool natin dito. Okay? If you are operating a GPP hardware, general purpose hardware, okay, hindi mo problema mag-source out ng part kasi you can uh, think of it na you can buy let's say a power supply. Sige, order tayo dito sa hanap tayo sa Raon, parang ganyan. So just to put it in simple terms, mas madali tayo maka-source out ng parts. Kuha tayo dito kay HP, kay Dell, yan. Kaya nilang i-source out yung ganitong server. Pwede natin palitan ng ganitong server. Yan. Whereas kung naka-proprietary na hardware tayo, ay hindi ko pwedeng palitan to kasi ito yung port na gamit niya. Okay? Or ganito yung interface nitong system na to, hindi natin pwedeng salpakan ng ganito. Okay? So OpenRAN solves that. Okay? And also, you still have yung power ng scalability, yung power ng cloud, power ng virtualization. Okay? Yung mga network functions, okay, they are now running as a cloud native network functions. When we say cloud native network functions, they can be easily deployed instantly, di ba? And naka-containers na yan, microservices, ang bilis nilang mag-integrate. Whereas kapag sa tawag nito, sa naka-proprietary vendors tayo, isang challenge talaga dyan yung interoperability. Okay. So how will like for us balik tayo dun sa example natin sa sa naging reviews or deployment ko pa before, di ba? Paano natin tawag ito, we already have a system for our SMS, MMS before. Yan. And then, mag-incorporate tayo ng bagong application gateway pero running kay ganitong vendor. So, ang tagal ng integration, ang tagal ng testing. Okay? Kasi, although they are using the same protocols, di ba? Established naman yung protocols eh. Meron tayong sinusunod from 3GPP. Pero, parang some way or the other, those vendors, they have their own way to implement those protocols. Ganun siya. So, may challenge in terms of integration ng different vendors. Okay? So, OpenRAN solves that. When we say open, okay, you are using open source softwares. Okay? So, kapag sinabi nating open source softwares, hindi siya necessarily free. Di ba? Kasi ang inisip natin, open source, free yan, ganyan. Hindi. Okay. Well, they are open for yung license is open for public use and the codes are open for you to see. Okay? But for the support that you need, diba? Babayaran mo pa rin yun. Okay? So you have open source softwares and you have GPP hardware, general purpose hardwares, diba? And you open up the interfaces para pwede ka na mag-mix and watch. Okay? Or next tech refresh natin, may bagong vendor, kaya niyang tapatan yung ano natin. Kaya niyang tapatan at lower price at the same capacity, di ba? So hindi ka na hindi ka locked in, okay, sa single vendor, okay? Ayan. So ang tanong, no, di ba? Okay. Okay, kung ako yung customer, ako yung subscriber, okay? Does it matter ba sa akin if yung network provider ko is using Open RAN or hindi? Di ba? Kung ako yung customer, yan, pare, di ba? Where does my traffic go? Di ba? Magmamatter ba sa akin yung kung traditional network pa ako, centralized network, virtualized, or Open RAN? Actually, hindi, di ba? Hindi naman it's not in the perspective ng customer or ng subscriber. Okay? So, nasaan yung Open RAN value chain? Okay? The Open RAN value chain, okay? The customer is not the subscriber. Okay? Think of our value chain, okay, with the network operators as the customer. Tapos yung mga RAN vendor, sila yung business. Okay? Ibig sabihin, if ako yung network operator, okay, I can drive yung value. Di ba? I am the network operator, I will drive the value. Ito yung hanapin ko sa mga vendors. Ito yung solutions na gusto kong makita sa mga vendors. Okay. So that is the Open RAN value chain. The network operators, they are the business, they are the drivers ng value chain ni Open RAN. Ayan. Okay. So question. Who are the big 5 traditional RAN vendors? Okay. Who are the big 5 traditional RAN vendors? So the RAN or yung whole market ng RAN, they are shared, okay, ni Huawei, ni Ericsson, ni Nokia, ni ZTE, ni Samsung. So ibig sabihin, yung market share sa RAN, okay, etong 5 lang yung nag-dominate. Okay, so when Open RAN comes in, it presented market disruption. Okay, they presented new opportunities for the new players to participate and to bring in more supply and solutions then. Okay. So the Open RAN value chain, there is a study conducted by Analysys Mason na they broke down the Open RAN architecture, okay, and they look for ano ba yung impact or what components inside those architecture that would bring up new market. Yan, okay. So let's dig in from the bottom. For the radio unit, okay, think of how can we supply a radio unit? Okay. For a radio unit, we need hardware for it. Okay, kailangan natin ng antennas. Okay, kailangan din natin ng software to drive. Okay, and also we need chips. Okay, to especially if we are now implementing massive MIMO antennas, diba? Okay. So in terms of the radio unit, there are a new market for semiconductors, a new market for hardware and software, and also for the services. Ibig sabihin ng services is those who can integrate those chips, those radio units also to the other part ng architecture from radio unit to our DUs. Okay? And going up for the distributed unit, okay, think of the distributed unit on how we can deliver it. Okay, distributed unit, it runs, sabi nga natin on our previous slide, the DU runs on GPP hardware, so general purpose hardware. So general purpose hardware, we have hardware itself, yung servers, yan. Yung virtualization environment natin, okay? Actually, it still need a physical hardware, di ba? May servers pa rin na involved doon. Okay? And to handle accelerated computing, okay, we need accelerator cards. Okay? Mamaya makikita natin ano itsura ng accelerator cards. No? I'll show you one later. Okay? And also, another impact din, diba, is on services. Sabihin, how can we integrate an open distributed unit, okay, going to DU, going to the RU, and also going to our CU. Okay, so still you need integration service. Okay, and think of the cloud. For the cloud itself, how for the virtualization, how could you implement it? So you need a cloud software. You need hypervisors. Okay, you need containers. Okay, and also, diba? Meron pa rin ano, merong if you'll be implementing your own cloud, your on-premise cloud, okay, syempre ikaw pa rin yung mag-manage nung server behind that. Okay? So meron ka pa rin general purpose processors for it. Okay? And as well, meron ka pa rin service, integration service. You need to integrate your cloud within the network. Yung hardware behind it, okay, kung mag on-premise cloud ka, okay, ikaw, you need integration service for it. And also, if you plan to run it on a public cloud, okay, you need integration service for the application naman. Okay, and going up again on our run software, okay, these are yung cloud native network functions. Okay, so it opens up new market for our software development. Okay, so if you are the type na mas let's say mas focus ka on creating applications, and on deploying containers, okay, since the Open Run is recommending the use of the cloud native functions, yeah, okay. Ang laki ng there will be a big market, okay, to source out who could provide the best implementation ng mga cloud native functions na yon. Okay, and also for the RIC, okay, the RIC apps, our near real time at saka non-real time, no? Who could provide the best algorithm, okay, for our uh, 5G use cases, di ba? Who could provide the best, let's say, machine learning algorithm for optimization? Who could provide better, okay, orchestration? And so for those items from Run Software, Rick and Mano, okay, it opens new opportunities for software development companies naman. All right. So in this study by Analysys Mason, they've computed that it could bring, or Open Run could bring a 45 billion US dollars of revenue, di ba? Kasi ang daming ang daming points or components kung saan ka pwedeng mag-business in service, semicon, in providing hardware or software, or also if you are doing cloud implementation. Okay. Now let's see, di ba? For the services, what do we mean by services? It is the part of the Open Run value chain, okay, that plays the most significant role, di ba? 38% nung 45 billion US dollars, okay, manggagaling sa services because for Open Run, okay, they will be needing vendor neutral integrator. Ibig sabihin, if you want to be a system integrator, okay, well-versed ka dun sa mga architecture, okay, sa solution, and you know where to find which vendor, diba? Okay. So in traditional run, integration usually it is done by the run vendor mostly. Okay. If you were able to join, I think, a webinar, si Sir Leonard naman yung naging speaker before. He shared how Smart did their Open Run implementation, no? And what I got from that talk, kung sabi niya, it took them parang more than 6 months to finish yung implementation. Kasi nga, yun yung challenge din, integration, diba? You will be sourcing out different vendors, different suppliers, different infrastructures, okay? And you build it, tapos you will be also be talking to different persons. Unlike before, when we are implementing a single run vendor, diba? We are only talking to one contact, diba? Okay, we have a project manager that he is managing yung mismong project to deploy the run, okay? But for Open Run, okay, it posed a new roles, especially yung system integrator talaga. So we need to hone system integrators who are able to connect those devices, especially yung mga the protocols behind those, diba? Okay. The integrator will be greatly enhanced due to various components coming from many suppliers. But this category also deals with the deployment ng system. Yan, okay? So aside from the system integrator, okay, we also have testing. Okay, it opens new source of income for those vendors or companies that provide system tests. Okay, and also to manage service then. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at these companies or vendors. No, okay. For this slide, it came from Viabi. It was presented by Dr. Ian Wong. If you were able to join some webinars also conducted by Asia Oran, okay. So for this slide, we've seen that ito yung mga prominent na system integrators. Okay? Accenture, Infosys, Capgemini, NEC, HP, Enterprise, Tech Mahindra, IBM, TCS. But disclaimer, it's not only this list. Okay? It's not only this list. Marami pang iba. Okay? But these are just examples, no? Okay. And for testing and measurement, yeah, okay. These are companies that provide equipment or services for development, deployment testing, and okay. So we have Anritsu, Rod and Squartz, or RNS na lang. Medyo hirap din akong mag-pronounce. RNS. Yan. Calnex, Spirent, Keysight, and then VMB, okay? So sometimes, this testing and enterprise services, if there's a big outsourcing company, binibigay din nilang service yun. Okay? Part din ng part. Like for Accenture or IBM, yan, diba? They could provide also tests and enterprise service. Okay? I just naalala ko lang yun, yung I don't know if you have watched yung vlog ni KZ Briones, no, with regard dun sa testing. Sabi niya, KZ, pwede bang manligaw sa'yo, ganyan. What's your what do you look for in a man, diba? So sabi niya, gusto ko masigasig, diba? Okay. Tama-tama, okay. I'm a tester, yeah. I do all kinds of tests, yeah. I'll do unit test, yeah. I'll do volume testing, stress test, yeah. I do pen test also, yeah. Sabi niya, di ba? Sabi ng girl, okay. But I like a man who is also brave enough. Yeah. Sabi naman ni Ligaw, di ba? I'm also brave, okay? I do test in production. Okay? So, mga IT jokes. So, you don't do test in production, no? Especially kung naka-go live na yan. Okay. So, going to enterprise services. Okay. For enterprise services, these are companies that could provide, let's say, for example, like they were able to have an integrated system na. Yeah. So they help you out on deploying your RAN. Okay, na-integrate na nila yung RAN. Okay, they have set up the ORU, the DU, the CU, and your RIC and Mano. Okay. So after which, you need also to test it. Okay. So sabihin ng system integrator, yes, also we do have that kind of service. Yeah. You can, if you take our service, you'll have this discount. Okay. Sige. that's good. Para kayo na lang din kakausapin namin. Okay. And then, once it, before production, no, before it goes live, okay, they can provide another set of service. Sabihin nila. Possibly, kailangan niyo ng magme-maintain diyan, mag-ooperate, yan, operate and maintain. Pwede rin kami rin yun. We have infrastructure manage service for you. Yan, di ba? Kami na magme-maintain ng infrastructure mo. Meron kaming set of certified system admins, database admins for it. Para hindi mo na kailangan you don't need to employ more set of people. Kami na hawak niyan. Okay, sige. Probably gusto mo i-manage na rin namin yung application, yung mga containers na tumatakbo dyan. Yan. Ganun ba? Sige. And another selling point. Actually, meron pa kaming isa pang third service, yung security. Okay? So when Open RAN comes in, di ba? Na disaggregate yung network. Okay. Open siya in a sense na you can already do mix and match. Okay? But it also provides avenue since you have a wider attack surface na. Okay? So you also need to employ security service. And okay. Meron din kaming we do conduct vulnerability VA scans, pen test scans, yan. Patching, kami na rin gagawa niyan. Okay. So, ang laki ng di ba? Ang laki ng there's a big reason why the study found out that services really indeed contributes dun sa revenue na mapapasok ni Open RAN. Okay. And also, yung naging share ko na lang din, before, when I was in a telco, we have different vendors. So yung different vendors na yun, if we need to manage their system, okay, they have their own management systems then. Sabihin, they have their own consoles. Ito yung system namin para makita mo yung alarms ng ganito, para ma-clear mo ma-investigate mo yung ganitong alarm. Ito yung console niya. For another system, iba rin uli. Okay? And might as well, yung nila, yung ticketing nila, iba rin. They have, if you need to raise a ticket for us, yan, di ba? You lag a ticket in this URL, ganyan, yan. Okay. But for enterprise service, okay, they can provide your ITSM tool, your IT service management tool. For example, ito si ServiceNow. Diba? They have incident ticketing. You have service request ticketing, your problem tickets, and even your change tickets. Yan, pwede nang i-karga dyan. Because like let's say one scenario before sa telco is yun nga, iba-iba yung ticketing system ng mga vendors. Walang consolidated. Okay? That in a way you need to find or you need to have a single point of escalation kasi. Okay? So that's how the enterprise service for ITSM naman would help the operator. Yeah. Okay. So again, no to brand wars. Okay. The companies or the vendors listed here are just examples, no? Sorry kung mayroon akong hindi mai-share na logo ng company na hinahanap nyo, no? So I apologize for it. Okay. So this is not an exhaustive list. Okay. And second big chunk of the revenue will be coming from hardware naman. Okay, from the hardware. So hardware is poised to bring 24% revenue share since interoperability is or comes into play. It brings more vendors, diba? And these vendors could provide the operator they use small cells, okay, radio units, massive MIMO antennas, okay, and of course, diba, when we say 5G, it will leverage also on the sub 6G, sub 6 gigahertz and millimeter wave din, no, frequencies, and thus it will provide a big demand for the massive MIMO antennas, diba? On the as well, okay, other players can offer COTS. When we say COTS, the commercial off-the-shelf hardware, diba? Uh, yung mga blade servers na madi-deploy, okay, sa edge cloud natin, okay? So this removes the vendor lock-in and dependency on the technology, okay? And especially din dun sa roadmap nung single vendor, di ba, sabihin nila, oh, this machine or this product will end on will have its EOL, yung end of life niya hanggang ganito na lang, di na namin support yan. You need to upgrade to this new platform or new system that we have. Okay? So wala kang choice. You need to continue your business, okay? Dapat i-consider mo na yan when you have a tech refresh. Okay. So what I'm showing here, yan, the picture above, it's a CommScope antenna. It's an interleaved passive active antenna. Co-developed between CommScope and Nokia. Okay. So yung bottom part ng antenna, it's a multiband passive antenna for 4G, 3G network. Tapos yung taas niya, okay, the upper half is the active MIMO antenna naman. Okay. So this is an example of when network providers or operators, no, syempre we all start naman or for our case, no, for my case, we started at 2G, okay, and then employ ng data, di ba? So 2.5G, that is yung meron tayong GPRS and Edge, okay, and then pasok si 3G, then 4G, di ba? So for network operators, hindi naman nila pwedeng basta na lang din let's say sige palitan natin lahat into 5G. Hindi naman ganoon. So one way to serve, okay, yung 4G network mo and the 5G network mo is this antenna shown, diba? Yung for CommScope, yan, they introduced interleaved passive active antenna para in a way yung network operator, if he still supports 4G 3G systems, meron siyang antenna for it. And also if he is now investing into 5G, yan, meron na siyang ready na 5G antenna. Okay. And ito for us to understand yung some vendor lock-in. Ito I shared a picture from my past. Okay. So picture below naman is a Huawei rack. Yeah, Huawei rack. Okay. So meron siyang disk arrays and then yung panel boards niya sa ibaba, no. So when we talk of a single vendor or vendor proprietary hardware, ayan. Okay. So yung ano ba, yung mga disk sa taas, they are ano hindi pa ano yan hindi pa SSD yan noon. Medyo luma ng hardware yan, no? Hindi pa SSD. So, ano pa lang sila, mga HDDs pa lang, hard disk drives pa lang din yan. So, kung may nag-fail isa diyan, di ba? Sa kanila mo ire-report na we need this, we need a replacement disk for it. So, hindi ka pwedeng bumili na lang pwede ba akong bumili ng hard disk diyan sa Cyberzone? Same naman 512 gig ganyan. Okay. Hindi kasi iba yung enclosure niyan. Okay? So kahit makabili ka, hindi mo pwede siyang isalpak na lang for replacement, for hot swap. Okay? Hindi siya ganoon. And also, if na-share ko before na kanina that when we procure servers, okay, they are already computed to serve for some time, di ba? For some amount of utilization or traffic. Okay? So, ang kapag naka-vendor lock-in tayo, okay, ang isang case kasi na nangyayari dyan is they will provide an infra which is big, okay? Malaki yung throughput ng hardware, okay? Pero yung license niya, yung license ng software is nakalimit. Ibig sabihin, the way the software manages yung traffic, ay nahihit na namin yung yung utilization for license throughput. Ayan. Okay. So magre-request ka ng upgrade sa vendor. Okay. Actually, ang gagawin lang, magla-load lang sila ng license file, okay, to enable the software to utilize more of the resource. Pero they do not necessarily have to plug in more hardware, diba? License file lang yung binili mo actually. Okay. And ganoon din for replacements, ayan. Okay. Well, since for this kind of machine, yung modules niya is naka-panel, no? So hindi siya yung mga 1U, 2U racks. So kung may mag-fail diyan, okay? Doon ka lang talaga sa specific vendor mo makakakuha ng replacement. You cannot find or you cannot source out to some other vendors for that. Kasi yung hardware niyan, proprietary sa kanila. Sabihin, pag tinanggal mo isang panel diyan, okay, makikita mo yung socket niya dun sa loob. Okay. Sila lang yung may ganung klase ng socket. Alright. Okay. But with the Open RAN, okay, meron na tayong we have lots of devices or hardwares to source out with. Okay. Again, no to brand wars. Yeah, no to brand wars. Okay. So for our ORAN hardware, yeah. Our radio units could come from Bicels, Airspan, Comba, CommScope, Foxconn, Fujitsu, ito. Okay, so these vendors could provide our radio units. Okay, for our DU and CU. Okay, sabi ko nga kanina, the DU can run on bare metal, pero pwede mo rin i-deploy yung DU as a virtualized environment din, eh. Okay? So if you are planning to have an on-premise cloud, okay? So you need to source out yung infrastructure mo for it. So you have Dell, HP, Contron, Supermicro, QCT, diba? Again, the list is not exhaustive. Okay? But pwede pang marami pang vendors kang mapagpilian for your hardware. And also, ito maganda, di ba? The big or the traditional vendors ng RAN, okay, they can also provide full RAN. Ibig sabihin, yung RU, DU, CU, pwede mong sa kanila kunin. And you can since they also uh, are tawag nito, uh, compliance on Open RAN standards, di ba? Okay. So they could provide you an open RU, an open DU, and open CU hardwares. Okay? Si Ericsson, Nokia, Samsung. For in a way, 'di ba, para ay saan ako order ng ano na radio unit ko. Orderin ko pa ba sa Europe tapos yung DU, CU hardwares ko ordering ko sa Hong Kong tapos 'di ba? You can also avail a full run and full open run version from your traditional vendors. Si Ericsson, Nokia, Samsung, they can provide you radio unit, an open DU, and open CU units. Okay? Para in a way, hindi ka na rin mahirapan mag-source out. Yeah. I'll mute myself first. All right. Okay. So now we're going to the cloud platforms. Okay. The Sorry for that interruption. Naubos na akong laway. Okay. So going to the cloud platforms, it's the third biggest revenue contributor, okay, at 18%. Since the BBU has been disaggregated, okay, and it can now run on a COTS hardware, okay, the network functions, they can be hosted na, okay, in a cloud environment to properly utilize the underlying hardware, okay, and having a virtualized environment, it provides a very big number of benefits. Okay? Yung na-describe nga natin earlier, di ba? The virtualized network, it solves the high availability. It solves the scalability. Okay? So, kung i-compare natin before, di ba? If we need to procure hardware infrastructure for some platform system, it would take how long would it take, 'di ba? Kasi syempre iikot pa yan sa ano natin sa budget natin, 'di ba? Tapos papasok pa for approval, and then meron pang bidding, okay? Who are the vendors who could provide us better deals, ayan. Okay. So if we are to procure our own hardwares, ano siya, tawag no, it will take mabilis na siguro kung 6 months, ma-deploy mo yon sa mismong data center mo. Okay? But for cloud, okay, may server ka na in just minutes. Di ba, ang bilis? So, yung tawag ito, yung time to market mo, okay, if you are going to have deployments, ang bilis. Kasi you already have a server on your own. Okay? Just click on a button. Meron ka ng server. Okay? And also, the virtualized environment, it it gives us a lot of savings in terms of power consumption. Okay? Kasi if you are running on bare metal, yung server mo, kung ano yung rated power niya, di ba? Doon siya tatakbo. Okay? But for when you are tawag ito, when you are operating in, especially kung naka public cloud environment ka, okay? When you are running on a public cloud environment, wala ka nang poproblemahin sa servers. Lahat yun sila na mag-manage. Okay? You only have, you just need to manage your application running on their servers. Di ba? Ang laki na, ang laki ng bawas sa TCO, total cost of ownership, tsaka yung OpEx mo. Okay? So operators, they have an option to have their own on-premise cloud. Kung still yung gusto ng operator, hindi dapat yung infrastructure sa amin pa rin. Or they can avail public cloud deployments din, di ba? If yung CUDU functions, okay, doon na lang ipapatapos sa public cloud, pwede din naman yan. Okay? Ang isang challenge lang pala, yan. Ang isang challenge lang pala when we deploy public cloud, ang tanong doon is how does the cloud manage your data? Okay? Especially for us who serves local traffic, di ba? Dapat yung data natin, okay, or all our transactions should reside only within the country. Hindi pwede siyang lumabas, di ba? Hindi siya pwedeng tawag nito, ma-siphon or ma-route yung traffic outside ng country. Okay? So, for public cloud, yun yung kailangan i-consider lang din ng operator. How will the public cloud deployment secure my data? Okay? Siyempre, isa ring ano yan, I don't know if meron ng mandate sila NTC for it or limutan ko yung isang agency for our data security. But yun nga, still all our subscriber data, okay, they should only reside within the country. Yan. Okay. So for our cloud environment, ayan, if we are to implement an on-premise, gusto natin meron kaming we have our cloud admins, meron kaming mga enough people to handle such deployment. Okay. So we can, or the operator can procure and operate their own cloud, on-premise cloud. Ang challenge lang doon, okay, if you will operate it on your own, you still manage it in a data center. Okay, so you still need to manage the redundancy, the high availability, the redundant power, and yung disaster recovery niya. Okay? But again, you have you have your option for your vendors. Yeah. So makakapili ka pa rin naman for uh, for the vendors that you want your cloud to be deployed in. So you have Dell, HP, Control, Lenovo, Vapor, yeah. And also, di ba, if you are deploying your own cloud, mag-set ka pa ng sarili mong hypervisors, di ba? So you need to use softwares for it. Pwede kang mag-OpenStack, pwede kang mag Red Hat OpenShift, yan. And also VMware, WinRiver, yan. Okay? Pero yung management niyan, syempre, ikaw din ang gagawa. Okay? If you want a managed service, okay, lahat ng cloud infrastructure administration is naka-managed service na, you may opt to have a public cloud. Okay? You may check out the services provided in AWS. Okay? Si Google Cloud, si Azure, okay? Si IBM Cloud, si Oracle may cloud na rin, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Si Alibaba may cloud na rin. Okay? Pero still, di ba? You need to be aware where your data go. Okay? So if you are opting for a public cloud, you must ensure na itong public cloud provider, you have a setup or a deployment that their infrastructure is residing within the country. Okay? I could speak for AWS. For AWS, wala silang regional or wala silang AWS region within the Philippines. Okay? But if you want to avail AWS public cloud deployment, they have a solution for it. Sabihin, dadalhin nila yung infrastructure nila dito. And then they will look for a data center where they will host it. Okay? Yung AWS outpost. And then all those lahat ng administration noon, maintenance noon, sila na bahala. Okay? So ko-connect ka na lang via either via internet, VPN ka, or leased line, fiber optic. Yan siya. So moving on, let's talk about the semiconductors, no? So semiconductors, it contributes 11% revenue, as there will be also a demand for general purpose processors, accelerators, special purpose processors, yan, foundry and manufacturing, RF, modems, or other radio units. Okay. And also this encourages more semiconductor companies to drive more innovations then. Okay. So what you see here, the photo above, okay, it's a 26 gigahertz millimeter wave phased array antenna, which was developed naman ni IBM and Ericsson. Okay, so Open RAN brings in collaboration din, no, within the vendors, okay, to provide the customer, the network operator, more solutions, innovations, and okay. And the bottom one, okay, it's an accelerator card developed naman ni Qualcomm and Dell. So pag tinignan mo, parang parang VGA card. Yes. Okay. So, sino ba ang nag-ano dito? Sino ang who do mining before? Sinong nagbi-Bitcoin mining sa inyo before? Can you raise your hand? 'Di ba? Nung nauso yung Bitcoin mining, grabe yung naging price ng mga 'di ba, mga VGA cards. Kasi if you don't need to load all your computation sa CPU eh. So you need a separate card for it or separate computing resource for it. So doon niload sa ano, doon niload sa graphics card, diba? Sa mga accelerators. Yan. Okay, so who do we have for semiconductors? Okay, for general purpose processors that will handle the higher layer run functions, we have yung ito po pinaka-common talaga na ano na chip providers, AMD, si Intel if we are going for an x86 platform, di ba? Tapos if let's say we want to scale down, gigamit tayo ng less complex setup, there is ARM, di ba? Also, for specialized chipsets naman yan, for that demands high processing for PHY, packet layer processing, ayan. We have AMD, Nvidia, di ba? Graphics card pero ano siya for telco rin pala, di ba? Broadcom, Intel, NXP, Qualcomm, Marvell, okay? And many others. For our radio units, di ba? It needs syempre silicon for our antenna. Ayan. So we also have there AMD, Analog Devices, MaxLinear, okay, TI, Texas Instruments, Qualcomm, NXP. All right. So kung makikita natin, ang laki ng ano no, ang laki ng or in any part of the run, pwede yung ano natin, pwede yung profession natin. Ang galing ng ano, ang galing ng ECE. Parang pwedeng radio, pwedeng networking, pwedeng data center management, di ba? Pwedeng pumasok sa IT, pwede ring mag software development. Okay? So kumbaga ano, well-rounded yung naging ano natin, naging profession natin. Okay? So at second to the last is the software. Yeah, at 9%. So the software this consists of run functions that is used to uh, to run our run hardware. Okay? So previously, di ba, yung run functions na to, embedded siya sa hardware itself, but now they can be run in a containerized environment. Okay? So ano yung ano yung containers? Okay, ano yung containers? Before ano na lang, share ko lang din, diba? When I was in college, diba, meron tayong diyan we have programming course, diba? So for us, meron nagsimula kami sa ano sa C. Yeah, C language. So sa lab we are using the Linux OS, okay? Pero sa bahay, when I'm at home, I'm using Turbo C. Okay? Yun yung compiler ko. So, ang nangyari, when I do my programming sa bahay, di ba? At home, yeah, I'm using Turbo C. I'm using yung mga libraries na available sa Turbo C. Okay? And then, i-compile, and gagawa ng executable. Okay? So, nung pinasa na yung executable sa prof namin, pag niraran niya, ba't di gumagana to? Gumana naman sa akin. Pareho namang language, di ba? Pareho namang language. We are using the same C language. Okay. But again, iba yung libraries na na in-incorporate ko. And those libraries, wala siya dun sa OS na ginagamit ng prof ko. Okay. So nangyayari din yan sa corporate, di ba? Meron tayong we have a software development team, and once they finish their coding, di ba? They run it on a test environment, okay? And then once it passed the unit test, the volume test, then the user acceptance test, it will be uploaded or deployed sa production environment. Now, ang nangyayari, when it is deployed sa production environment, ayaw gumana. So what happened? So probable reasons, hindi same yung test environment, yung coding environment, and yung production environment. Okay. So what the containers do, is it solves that issue by packaging the complete runtime environment into an image. Ibig sabihin, when I code it sa development environment ko, okay, all the necessary functions, libraries, okay, dependencies, okay, kasama yun when I created the image. That way, when it is deployed dun sa production environment, okay, all the necessary libraries, packages, dependencies, mag-run din. Okay? So, yun yung advantage, okay, ng containerization. Okay? So, containerization is it solves yung packaging niya, okay? And in a way, when we deploy the software sa production environment, it's already executable. Ayan. Okay. So the picture on the right, it is it came from Cisco, no? So it shows us let me zoom in. Okay. Okay. So apologies for the blurred zoom. Okay. So for the containers environment, we can deploy it in bare metal. Ibig sabihin ng bare metal, you don't have a hypervisor. You don't deploy a hypervisor. Okay? So meron kang hardware, tapos doon mo na siya agad i-run yung mga containers using for this one, sa example, it's K8s, Kubernetes. Okay? Yun yung orchestration engine niya, and then yung mga containers niya, it runs in Docker images. Okay. And those yung mga virtual network functions natin, ayan, yung mga virtual network functions natin, they run on these open source containers, the FDIO, okay, for your networking. If you need a database, we have Cassandra, and I think it's MongoDB for the NoSQL database. If you need caching mechanism, you have Redis. And then if you need monitoring for the containers, and yan sila, Prometheus and Grafana naman. Okay. And moving up to our centralized unit, diba? Nandun yung user plane and control plane natin eh. For the user plane, okay, and control planes, those network functions are deployed as microservices. Okay? So ano yung microservices? Before, let's say before, ang usual na setup is a monolithic. Pag sinabi natin monolithic service. Isang rack or isang server, nandun na lahat tumatakbo. Nandun yung web server mo, nandun yung database mo, nandun yung application server mo, ganun siya. Okay? Ang problem doon, let's say nag-down yung mismong server, wala ka ng lahat ng yun. Or nag-down yung specific lang na service, yung web service, okay? Wala na rin yung wala na ma-access yung subscribers or yung customers mo. Okay? But for services, you are deploying your softwares in small elastic containers. Okay? So functions na lang sila. Yan. So they are deployed in network functions, sila PGW, MME, PCRF, ERA. They are deployed in microservice. Sabihin mga functions na lang sila that will operate in a containerized environment and still can be deployed as needed. So kung kailangan ng mas maraming microservice for MME, diba, makikita ng system yun, it will deploy a number of container services for such. Okay. Then moving up to our brick. Yeah. So we have element management functions naman. Okay. SLA manager, lifecycle manager, scheduler, config management, KPI alarming. Okay. In a way, we want to have kasi gusto natin optimize yung optimize yung run natin. Okay? So we have the RIC for it. Diba? Run intelligent controller. Okay? And for the run intelligent controller to run, okay, it needs these functions. And also, if we want to have an AI-based optimization or automation or orchestration, yun, that will be deployed dun sa ating non-real-time RIC. Yeah. We can have a non-real-time RIC running with this functions naman, auto ID, auto VNFs, auto deploy. Okay, so the non-real-time RIC, it will have some machine learning algorithms to decide when to deploy or when to scale up or when to scale down. Ayan. Okay. So this is the software part naman ng Open RAN. Okay. So what are sorry. Yeah. Okay. What are the vendors we have? Who are the vendors for the Open RAN software? Ayan. Okay. So to run the RAN software, our DU and CU sa bare metal or virtualized or containerized environment, and we have Capgemini, JMA, Mavenir, Nokia, Parallel Wireless, Radisys, Rakuten, and Samsung, right? For the RIC, okay? Ito naman yung mga companies that would provide us the software to control the RIC. Oops, sorry. It's Elrun, Capgemini, Cellwise, and Ericsson, HCL, and Juniper, Mavenir, NEC, Nokia, VMware. Okay. And for the orchestration, okay, we have software from Amdocs, Ciena, DCS, okay, and so on and so forth. Yan. Okay. So especially with the advent of generative AI, no, ang laki ng magiging tawag nito, demand to have automation talaga. Okay? And that automation also will help us in our management and orchestration. Okay? Now, lastly, ito hindi siya considered sa revenue, no, kasi it's part of of research and development. So for the development, we have incubators, academic research and development, open run labs and test beds, okay, testing and certification providers, standards and open bodies. So these are the groups, okay, that share and validate technology. They do plug fest. When we say plug fest, kasi 'di ba in open run we do mix and match eh. So plug fest is they try out, let's say this is a new vendor. We have an open RU. You may test it out if magiging compatible sa system yan. So this is an example, the image shown on the right, from Rhodes Quartz or RNS, diba? This is a setup on how they test are used from different vendors, no. So they have a signal generator which emulates the UE, the user equipment, okay? And then plug in dito sa blue box yung vendor who want to try out his or her open RU equipment, okay? And then they will connect it to the this VIAVI TM500, okay? It simulates naman yung ODU, okay? And from it they will check if this could work, okay? The run will function, okay? So aside from this kind of plug fest, ayun, as we have tackled earlier, no, some innovations are co-created between companies, di ba? We have yung earlier the antenna that was made by CommScope and then tapos yung massive MIMO antenna naman ni IBM and Ericsson, yan. So merong mga collaborations between vendor labs. Ayan. All right.